Okay, so I want to try taking on another JavaScript deobfuscation. In particular, I want the challenge to actually puzzle through trying to get through all of the chaff to find what the code is. I want to try stepping through this process, just throwing away material, throwing away material, throwing away material. I'm going to refrain from using a lot of tools. If you really are serious about trying to study malware and go straight for the guts of it, there are a lot of other ways this thing could be process deobfuscated, but this is my fun approach to solving. The tools I'm going to use for this are based on the limits of the puzzle rules that I'm going to set for myself. What we're going to do is we're going to certify that up for us and process it just a little bit. That formatted it nicely. Note as well, a lot of these are actually escape character code strings. Now this tool actually has a nice feature here. There we go. We now have it beautified with all the strings coded for us. Let's copy that into a blank file I've made here for this project. Clean up the formatting. Okay, one thing we're going to do here, very beginning, is just add a comment as a main scope level. Second thing is, I notice here that they alternate between single quotes and double quotes. For JavaScript, it doesn't matter if you use one or the other, as long as you pair them together, the same thing. What does make a difference is if you're trying to make a string that includes quotation marks, or apostrophes, you need to alternate between the types of them. For this case, though, and for the fact that I've got something in mind with what I want to do with these, I'm going to change all of these quotation marks into single quotes. Go, so that wouldn't have affected anything. 1544, that is our magic number. That's how many lines we have in this code. So I'm going to open my OpenOffice spreadsheet. It's the equivalent of Excel, although not really truly equivalent, but free, which makes it good to have at home. What I'm going to do first is paste in the unformatted text and make sure that it is not delimited in any way. And I'm actually going to make a copy. One copy is the actual code with indentations in it. The other copy, I am going to remove all of the tabs. So that's regular expressions on, /T for tab, replace with nothing. Okay, so now, reason for this is because I want to characterize what these kind of statements are. Sort things out down the line, I think, with what if I'm thinking about this right. First thing I'm going to do here is we're going to put the line numbers for each one. That way I can sort and alphabetize the columns and change things around without losing track of which line was which line in the code. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is sort based on what we have there. And this is why I wanted to get rid of the tabs, because then I could see all of the closing comments and all of the other types all put together. So what I'm going to do here first is I'm just going to categorize everything as an eval. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to overwrite some of those things as we come along. Okay, these things, these braces here, I'm going to mark down as close. They will close an if statement or an if else, or they also will close functions, and they close catches, and they close everything else, but I'm going to follow that up in a moment. Okay, this one here is specifically a catch, and I'm going to call these ones else. I need to worry about our comment. Now see, that way we have all these variable names that pop up. They're all just evaluations and expressions to worry about. Here we have a 4. Noting them separate because, again, that's something else that the brace mark is used for. I'm going to call these functions. Here's some more. Here's our ifs. Okay, what else have we got? We have a special thing down here. We have returns. I'm going to call them rats. And we have a switch, which is a special thing that also uses braces and tries. And for this one, I'm also going to note variable declarations as something special. The reason for that being that they need to declare the variable that they're going to actually use in the code. And they need to declare the variable that they're going to be using when they try doing a replacement for these obfuscated comments, like the, if x is, or if the sign of x is -1, they have to define what the x is they're going to put into it. Whereas a lot of these other comments, a lot of these other lines can be either variables that have already been declared elsewhere and are being used, or they could just be garbage code because it doesn't actually execute them. It doesn't get to them because they're in the ifs and the elses and they're not being used. Okay, so that was a quick buzz through. I think I've got all the special types of things that can be found. Okay, so now that that's done, I am going to resort again based on column A. So what I can do here is I can find where this function closes and change this to a close function. Because for what I have in mind, I need to pair up these special cases. So be a close for, because I only want the naked closes to be closes for the if and else conditions. Everything else where it's something different. Actually, from the look of it, there are a lot of functions. One thing I do notice I have a lot of these little embedded functions that are simply returning the sign and hosts and values like that, which my guess is those are probably just going to be junk code added in for no reason. But we will we'll wait until the end to evaluate those things out. I'm not going to make a leap right now because they might actually use one or two of them as a valid code just for generating a 0 or a 1 within their system. Okay, so I finished going through the entire system, assigning these values and double checking things. Conditional formatting comes in very handy here. I was able to identify, that a close function comes after every return. And so that would allow me to quickly make sure that I got all those ones done right and things like that. I checked through the list and made sure that I had 3 tries and 3 catches, and then therefore 3 closed tries, and similar for the 4 values. So I believe that I have everything here correct at this point. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is just move some of these columns around a little bit. I don't need to worry about the actual formatting here one for the moment. I do want this. Actually, what I want to do is, probably for simplicity of my equations that I'm going to be using, is to put that column over here. And I don't need to worry about the line numbers for now. I'll just push them over the far side here. Now the first step is actually, I'm going to separate the variables out. Now, while I'm thinking about this, we have, the first thing I'm going to do here right now, or my plan, what I'm leading to, is to basically come up with a way to extract out the variable name and the value, and then do a substitution into this line. So I'm just going to go here. It's going to take me a few minutes to come up with these. So I will obviously cut past that. But basically, my plan is going to be, every time there's a variable, I'm going to replace the word var out of it and the space. Then I'm going to take from that value and take only the left part that has the variable name in front of the equals. And then take the right part after the equals and get rid of the semicolon. So I will return once that has been done to show that it's working. So I have the variables extracted, the variable names and the variable values.